hey trees, it's us again. We just want to like sit down and talk. So listen, we're not the sort of people that want to cut you down, okay? We just want to like talk about the happening. So your leaves, they're looking pretty good. Someone trim your foliage. That's awesome. Say hi to your mother for me.
I don't think trees have moms.
Sure they do. Their mom's also their dad.
What's that about?
What's that about? All right. So welcome to our Arbor Day special. And now we're out of Arbor Day movies.
Yeah.
We'll find more.
There's got to be something.
So last year, Troll 2, because, they turned into chlorophyll. This year, The Happening.
I got you covered for next year. Don't you worry.
Shit.
So we can just delete the G on that, because we're not going to be saying The Happening.
The Happening.
It's The Happening.
It's The Happening.
The Happening.
We were actually talking about that last night, about what we're going to do now that there's no more tree movies.
We'll figure it out.
And I told Amber we could probably watch the first, 10 minutes of the Final Destination movie where the tree goes through the fucking cop car, and then we just stop it right there.
There's going to be plenty. There's going to be plenty. If I'm like Fried Green Tomatoes or something stupid or whatever, the killer tomato movie, there's plenty of things where plants are out to murder people.
Okay.
Even Little Shop of Horrors. There's plenty of Arbor Day movies.
All right.
It's just like these were when I conceived of. I wanted to do stupid holidays because everyone does a Christmas special.
Yeah.
Who does an Arbor Day special? These two dipshits.
Yeah.
That's who does an Arbor Day
And
special.
people are searching like crazy for Arbor Day content.
They are, and everyone wants to know, what did Nick and Lance think of The Happening?
Nobody wants to know that. Okay, here we go.
All right. So I guess we'll start with scores and then be ready for it to be spoiled because this is a treasure. You don't want, if you have this plot ruined for this movie.
You might almost want to turn it off now and not even know our scores because just go see it. It's a movie that you have to. It's got to be happening to you.
It's happening near you.
Yeah. So
speaking of like you need to go see it. Is it anywhere? Rent on Prime Video starting out. You got to pay for this movie apparently.
You didn't ruin the score bit, did you?
Oh, I might have.
No, we'll see.
We'll say. I didn't ruin the Rotten Tomatoes scores at least.
Okay.
So it's not streaming anywhere. So unfortunately, if you want it, you've got to own it like I do.
The royalties on this movie are probably too expensive for like most movie channels like HBO to like carry.
I imagine it's more of like, hey, M. Night Shyamalan, can we have The Happening? No. Can we please have it? No.
Okay, I'll give it to you on one condition. What's that? No. What a twist.
What did I? Mark Wahlberg, is it okay if we put this place wants to show The Happening? We'll give you a present or cut of the money. It's like no, I'm good.
I want people to forget that movie.
That movie needs to get buried.
Yeah, the worst part is his acting then is the same as his acting now. So, yeah.
It's just, you'd have people that would cut around it. Just take that little of it and like snip that. Because he wasn't that bad in the Uncharted movie.
He was still Mark Wahlberg.
He was still Mark Wahlberg, but he was not the Happening's Mark Wahlberg.
That's true. But I mean, he's still.
I guess he's Mark Wahlberg in Uncharted. He's Marky Mark in the Happening.
Yep. No, you are 100% right on that. So Nick.
Yes.
On a scale from 0 to 10, what would you give The Happening?
Okay, so in my mind, there's two scores. I'm going to give you what I actually think of this as a movie. Mm-hmm. So be ready for that one. And then afterwards, I'll tell you what it would be if you're sitting around with a bunch of friends watching this movie.
So I'm showing my guess on your first statement.
Yes. So what would you, if I had to sit down as a film critic and rate this movie, what score would I give it? Like a 3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's pretty trash.
Oh, it's straight up trash,
But why a 3 versus some of the other ones we'll get into, because it could easily be a 2. But there's some stuff in it that I think is actually decent. Ooh. And then there's the acting that occurs around those bits that just kind of drag it right down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this should be a good one, folks.
So as for sitting around with your friends and watching it, It's like a 6 or a 7.
Okay.
Because it has got quotable lines, and it's just got like memorable performances, not memorable for the right reasons.
Right.
and it's got shots that are just ridiculous, where it cuts to a field, and the breeze blows menacingly, and then you cut back to people being like running from the breeze. You gotta outrun that breeze.
Yeah.
And it's funny as shit.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right about that. Watching this movie the first time in the theater, like, I thought that we were going in for, like, a treat.
No.
And then I remember walking out of the theater and being like, well, that was a movie that we sat through.
Well, that's what happened after The Village, right?
Yes.
Because, like, what's his first one? Sixth Sense? I think that was fucking great. Unbreakable, I think, happened before this one. That one was fucking amazing.
I hated it.
I loved Unbreakable. It was cool. What was it? Signs was... I wasn't big on Signs, but it was still...
I am also crazy. That fucking movie blew, too.
Yeah, I wasn't big on Signs. He did another movie that was good.
The Mermaid, the lady in the...
That one came later. But then he put out The Village. And we went to see The Village. And, like, the twist... Like, at that point in time, it's like every movie has to have a twist. And it's just... dude, it's... Stop. Quit. Cut it out.
So, I'll at least say for The Village, I kind of liked the ending of that movie because I literally thought that it was like a period piece, like back in the day. And then when you run out and see the well, I'm not going to ruin anything, but like the end of the movie happened, and I was kind of like, okay, that's interesting, but it's not great, you know? Like, it's interesting, but it wasn't like the twist I wanted.
For me, you got the movie coming along like this, and then it goes like that. But when you have decent being right here, and you're like, oh, it's not a bad movie. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. So Lance, what would you give The Happening on a score of 0 to 10, not 11?
I would give this movie a 4. Okay.
I'm so disappointed in you.
So yeah,
It's what'd you give Blood Rain a 1?
Yeah. Well, did I give Blood Rain a 1 or
It
a
was 1
0?
or no, it wasn't a 0.
Okay.
If you give Blood Rain a 0, I've got movies to show you.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll go into it because I think there is some thinker stuff here. Like, I actually I thought about some stuff, and then I did some research after the movie. And like, I think...
Did you research where the bees went?
No, but this is a theoretical situation. So, because that's the one thing that everyone always says, even though I don't understand it. If the bees die off, then we die off with it, because they move the pollen from place to place. But we live in Charleston, South Carolina. Tree jizz is fucking everywhere here. So it's like, it's got to be making their job at least easy here. Because, I mean, it's fucking everywhere.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's more of a shotgun approach.
Yeah, sure. It's a shotgun approach, and then you have to have it happen during the season, like as we go along.
Whereas you got the bees like going along and also making honey, which is kind of important too.
Yeah, I guess. So there's a lot of people that go their entire life without eating it, though. So, I mean, it's good for like your immune system, for like flu season and shit like that. But you have to buy the stuff that's like local.
Yeah.
So, but no, we'll talk about that. Like I have done some looking into stuff,
Okay.
and my buddy John just called me, and John, watch the video. I'm acknowledging you, but I can't answer it because we're shooting video.
All right. So, spoilers for The Happening. You could own it on DVD just like me.
If you want to, you could buy this one.
No, you can't have this one. This one's
Near and dear.
it's important because this is a movie you throw in to laugh at because it is it's pretty bad.
Are you ever going to watch this movie again?
Yeah. Not by myself.
Oh, okay. All right.
Not just like throw it in and watch it.
You're going to find that one person, you'll be like, oh, you know, like The Happening with Mark Wahlberg, and they'll be like, the what? And you'll be like, do I have a treat for you?
or when people wonder like where that Marky Mark impression comes from. It's not just Marky Mark. It's like that came out around the time of The Happening. That whole you're going to murder me in my sleep? What? No. I mean, that whole weird way of speaking was kind of brought out in this particular movie that people kind of lampoon. And if people are like, why do you say that sometimes? It's like, oh my God, run from the trees, or like other random, because this movie's quotable.
Yeah, extremely quotable. And, I mean, it's fairly topical, too. And so I'll go into it.
Yes, explain.
Well, okay, so are we doing that now?
So
yeah,
spoilers.
Yeah, full and spoiler. Okay, so The whole thing that they've been talking about it forever. I think it was even Einstein says that if basically bees went, then we'd follow behind it in like 4 years later or something like that. I think there was a quote of that in the movie. The bees disappear in this theoretical world. It attacked one of the places that creates a fuck ton of pollution. So it's like when they started talking about like there's a particular wasp that was attacking this thing. So like nature made this other thing happen to basically cull it. The planet's always going to figure out something to basically, like, I think George Carlin said it best when he said, we aren't doing anything to the planet that the planet won't survive. We will kill ourselves, but the planet will still be here. There are studies that say that plants perk up when you play music for them or when you talk to them or whatever. So the movie is basically trying to push the whole idea of Mother Nature has finally had it with your shit.
Oh yeah.
And like it couldn't have been more obvious when it was like this was a warning. You know?
Oh yeah. I mean, this movie's not subtle.
Right. But I mean that's in the time that it happened and in the what was going on with like pollution and like awareness of like recyclables and everything like that. This was a clear declaration of get your shit together or the planet's going to go away.
Oh yeah.
And the problem with people is we think we have all the time in the world and we're fucking lazy. So we don't want to do anything about it until it's too late. We never do anything until it's fucking too late.
I mean, there's also the issue of, like, what are you and I going to do about it? We're not the ones building factories of pollution out into the...
Somebody, I can't remember who it was, but someone pointed out and said, I think it was John Oliver, who said plastic producers literally spent billions of dollars making you and I feel guilty about plastic when they are the ones that are actually making it and distributing it and then basically try and shame us into like recycling it.
Oh yeah.
Even though
and then trying to get back at you for like the little straw things, whatever. Like, how come you guys are using plastic straws?
Right.
It's like, give us alternatives. Or like, sell us not shitty paper straws. Or like, help us.
Yeah.
You're making the shit.
And so that's the whole initiative. They make it, we buy it because that's what the convenient thing is, and then you make us feel bad about it for using it. When it's inconvenient to move to something else, I drink through fucking silly straws. They sell steel straws at Walmart, but I'm not buying those because that'll go straight through my fucking kid's head the first time he goes walking across the den with that in his mouth. Yeah. And then they sell paper straws, and I fucking hate those because if it sits in the soda for more than 5 minutes, it fucking flattens.
Well, then also, you drink through a paper straw, and now your soda tastes slightly of paper.
Yeah. It's like drinking it through a fucking paper towel.
It's like one of those big toilet paper rolls, and just be like, delicious.
My biggest thing is it always gets soggy. So like when I go to drink out of it, the fucking part that's in the cup is collapsed at this time. Yeah, because I don't drink my sodas fast. No, but yeah, it's. I think the message of the movie is a good one.
Yeah, so nature's going to get back at you.
Right. But the execution of the movie is fucking horrible. But I will say this. How do you make the wind scary? How do you make something that's a biological fucking... something that it's a biological toxin that you can't see, but the wind carries it? So how do you make the wind scary?
That's a good question. And The Happening gives you plenty of answers of how not to make the wind scary.
Sure.
Here are some examples of the wind not being scary. Don't do these next time you make a Happening sequel.
I think when he was filming it, they had big fans off to the side where it's like, make these trees shake here. You know, because like while I was watching the movie, I was constantly watching like the grass in the background and shit, and there was like this one.
It's like the breeze, like people are sitting down and you see like the grass and stuff moving in the background, like the breeze is coming to spray them with the pheromones, and like, oh no, ooh.
Yeah.
Or when John Leguizamo and Dante are in the Jeep or whatever, and they look up and there's like the little hole,
and he's just staring at it.
It's like, oh no. It's like you're in a Jeep. It's not airtight.
Yeah, and that was
you're in a cloth top Jeep.
Yeah, and I think that was the other thing I had a big problem with. It was like they were. It's like when he ran into the room when the grandmother started killing herself or whatever, and he shoved the towel up underneath the door, and it's like, come on, man. You know, like it's air. You're fucking dead if this is what it is. But yeah, I thought the movie had a good idea. I think when someone was sitting,
Sure.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's topical, but it's like the execution was so poor. Like the part where they were running and they were in the two groups, and then like the one group started killing each other, and they're like, "We got to go back." Like to me, that was a pretty tense moment because they're like, "We got to go help them." Pow. Well, we can't go back there and help them because they're pow. Like, you know,
Give me a second to think.
yeah. I need to think. Variables. 5 + 2. Say hello to your mother for me. Like, yeah, it was an interesting movie. I think if it had been somebody else's hands, it might have been interesting. But I literally sat last night and I thought about it and was like, how the fuck do you make the wind scary?
You don't.
Yeah.
Not like this, anyway.
Yeah, it was, and then the way they did it, how abruptly, like when the one group, it seemed like when there was like hurt feelings or people feeling bad or someone angry, is like when that shit happened, because you had the two men arguing in the one group, and then everyone stiffened, and then one person starts walking backwards, and the dude's like, "This is my rifle, better like it," but like the way it hits people, it's like someone off camera goes, "And freeze." And everyone just fucking freezes. So, and that's the stuff that was comical to me.
Yeah. And there's stuff in here. So why it's like a 3 instead of a 2 or whatever for me is that there's scenes in here that, like a lot of the, you know, often yourself scenes are kind of creepy. Like when she's sitting reading the book or whatever, and she takes like her hairpin out and like stabs her in the neck. I'm like, okay. Or like when you're at the construction site and you're just kind of like, it's looking up and you just see the people like diving off the building. Like that's a pretty good shot.
Or the lawnmower scene.
The lawnmower scene, I like that one.
The tiger scene is bad.
The tiger scene's awful. I just take my arm, he just kind of goes, and then the arm's off.
And then you see like the shoulder, basically, as he's walking with the other fake arms. What's he doing?
Yeah, so you take this one too. It's like, yeah, I mean, his arms are like barely on.
Well, I mean, that's the tigers. So I'm sure there's someone, like, once this actually gets popular, someone's going to be like, "It only takes 43 pounds of pressure to rip the human arm off. I should know, I'm a karate major." So, I mean...
But usually there would be leverage, or like you would be not just, you're not going to like...
Yeah, you'd be going ass over tea kettle if something like pulling your arm.
If something pulls your arm, you're going down with it. It's not just your arm popping off and be like, "Oh, shit, my arm's off."
Well, tigers are Dragon Ball Z strong, bro. They're just like... Take it off before your body even knows it's gone.
Oh, yeah. Just like how tigers hunt. By ripping limbs out of sockets.
Yeah. You ever been attacked by a tiger, bro?
I have been attacked by a tiger.
Really?
But unfortunately, these were lions. So all of my tiger knowledge does not apply.
But you've been attacked by a tiger?
Yeah, sure.
What happened? I didn't know this.
I came out with... I pulled his arms off.
I didn't know you were Chuck Norris, bro. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Say hello to your Chuck for.
Say hi to the tiger for me.
But yeah, I agree with you 100%. There was a good idea. The execution was poor. The part that really fucking like I thought sucked ass was the wind. Oh no, here it comes. And then they had like the super heavy wind on the ground where it was like, it's almost like there was a drone or like they had this gigantic fucking fan that was concentrating. Like almost like there was a tornado. And it's like running up on them. They're just like, and then they just stand there and fucking nothing happens. And it's like, is that Mother Nature like, you ready? I'm gonna fucking give it to you. And when they close their eyes, she's like, 2 for flinching, bitch. You know, like it was just weird.
I think Mother Nature did the 2 for flinching, bitch. Because at the end, like when Marky Mark and Zoe Deschanel eventually like decide like, nah, we're fucked. So they're just gonna walk out and let it happen. And the Nature's like, nah, you good.
Oh, the kids are in love.
Nah,
I can't kill them.
You good. I just killed this old lady. So I was just happening, but now it's done happening.
You know, I was going to bring this up, and I've been thinking more and more about it, and I think it's silly, but I think that she was poisoned a long time ago.
Yeah, maybe. She was crazy. She was out living on her own, crazy.
Like, she didn't... I don't know. She hates herself so much that she just didn't kill herself or whatever, but, like, she was acting so fucking weird. Like, but, I mean, like, the doll in the bed, and, like, you could tell she's had a rough fucking life. So, her just being full of piss and vinegar, I can buy that. But, like, she acted so fucking weird. I'm wondering if she was just, like, poisoned and then just kind of got over it. Like, she took a nap and like the toxin may have still been in her body, but like most of it kind of bled out, but she's still kind of fucking crazy. Because like her character, like, I don't know about you, I don't care how desperate you are. If I'd have gone to a fucking house and she'd acted like that, I'd be like, we'll be going.
Yeah, see ya, man.
Yeah, I'm not that desperate to fucking hang out. Like, especially when she smacked the girl's hand for like reaching for a cookie. She's like, I made you dinner. She's like, I'll have another fucking cookie. She's like, pop. That's not yours. I'd have been like, dude,
Don't reach for things that aren't yours or whatever.
yeah, it's don't reach for things that aren't yours. And then just hands her a cookie. Being like, bitch, you crazy. We gotta go. So yeah, it was just.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, straight up.
But it also leads to the decision. So Marky Mark and Zoe Deschanel decide at the end we're gonna go. So they open the door. The little girl's back there like, wait, what are we doing? And she just like takes her hand like, come on. Let's go.
Yeah, I guess if we're gonna die, we're all gonna die together.
It's like, okay, you that's your decision.
Don't take my daughter's hand unless you're gonna drag her outside in the poison with you.
It's like, all right.
Yeah, it's all inclusive.
But it's just like no discussion. It's like, come on, you're dead with me.
I mean, you know, what's she gonna do?
I know that's you're a kid. You're not. We're going out into the wind and letting whatever happens.
Well, I mean, it's almost like the way. So when the one group dies and the other group's on the hill, it's like they're not that far apart.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it like, you ever been walking down the street and it's raining, and it's like raining on one half of the street, but not on your side?
Yeah.
You know, like.
I mean, it's who knows where the pheromones are going to be.
Yeah, it's weird. Like,
I just wonder how the trees communicated with the wind. So they're like, that group over there, go get them.
So I just think that guy was crazy. Like, that dude, you know, trees that communicate like with grass and blah. I think that dude was just fucking weird. But I'm sure there are studies that says that shit like this happened. But I mean, it's life, right? So it's got to have something going on with it. It's, you know.
Well, they explained it early on in the movie by having the one kid be like, it's a phenomenon and we're never going to fully understand it. And he's like, yeah. And then it happens. And then the guy on TV is like, well, who knows? But it might happen in other places. And then it cuts to France or whatever. And it's going to happen here too.
Yeah. And that's, I think that was the thing that I didn't need from the movie, is because it's like, oh, this was a scary thing that happened in New York. People, be nicer to each other and be nicer to the planet, or the planet can do it again. And then it basically gives you that fucking scene at the end of it where it was like, it's happening again. So
how much would it suck if you lived like in Boston and this shit happened and you're like, fuck, we're out of here. Like, apparently the trees around here have evolved to just murder you. Let's go to France. And then it happens there too.
Yeah, I'd feel like it was personal at that point.
So is it better to stay in the place where it's already happened, or go to a place where it's not happening and hope it doesn't happen there?
I mean, had I lived through that in Boston the first time, I'd be in a fucking shack in the Rocky Mountains somewhere by myself, maybe me and Zoe Deschanel and the kid. But like, we would be living in shacks 1 acre apart from each other. You know, like it's.
We can't get too close together or the trees will get pissed at us.
Yeah, well, let's get together for one dinner. This ain't happening. Yeah, it's. I don't know. Like, there was obviously a good thought with this. It's kind of like whenever I come up with ideas and I'm like, hey guys, what do you think of this idea? And you're like, yeah, it's okay. And then the more I develop on it, y'all are like, okay, it's getting really fucking murky now. Or when you have enough time to sit with something and you keep adding to it, it's like it goes from like mashed potatoes to like fucking just straight up slop, because you're just like, oh, put some of this and put some of this and put some of this. Ugh, not good. It wasn't a good movie.
It's not a good movie.
Yeah, and the worst part is I thought I would at least gracefully fall asleep during it, and I didn't.
No. What? No. You can't fall asleep during this movie.
Well,
stay awake.
I was tired, and I was falling asleep during. I think we watched The Mandalorian before it, and I was kind of starting to nod on that because I was so tired. And then right after that went off, I put that on, and Amber's like, "Are you seriously gonna?" And I was like, "Yeah, go ahead and power through." And she's like, "Okay, well, you know." And I stayed awake the entire time and watched the movie from beginning to end.
This movie is intriguing.
It
It sucks, but it's intriguing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know very many movies in which they shotgun blast children.
It's a good point.
Or have conversations about hot dogs. Tube meat.
They get a bad rap.
They get a bad rap.
You got your proteins in there. It's an awesome shape. Yeah, that dude is just fucking weird. But yeah, I also don't know what expectation you have of like the guy killing the 2 kids, and then right after the second kid gets killed, he runs over and like puts his back to the window.
Yeah, they don't shoot him either.
Yeah,
I guess they weren't trying to get in the house anymore.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, those 2 kids were like yelling and being dicks, and he was like trying to stop it. So I guess that was the guy's way of saying, "I'm going to murder anyone who touches this house." Yeah. It was still fucking weird. It was dumb. And there was definitely more than one person in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like because like the door opens, they slide the shotgun out.
So the door opens a crack, and then you see the shotgun barrel like whoop.
Like almost like Looney Tunes. Yeah. Yeah, and then like as the shotgun's sliding back, the door shuts as soon as it clears. So like someone was opening and closing that door.
And then the shot happens, and the kid at the window is like, oh, and then the shotgun comes out the shutters super slowly, and then.
Bad. That part was bad.
It's funny.
The best acting in the entire movie was John Leguizamo. He was the most believable to me.
I don't know. It's got to be someone that didn't have any lines, right? That has to be a more believable part. Because it's not just my imagination. Dante was the one driving the Jeep, right?
Dante is...
From the Clerks.
Was it?
I think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think he's in the credits. I think because he didn't speak. That character didn't have a voice role, so that it wouldn't have to have credited him.
Brian O'Halloran is Dante.
Yes.
Okay. All right, not right now, baby. All right, so
I think that's Brian O'Halloran.
Yes, Brian O'Halloran is Dante.
Yes.
So I would have felt like I would have seen him.
Meow. Brian O'Halloran. This is the part where we Google.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is really intriguing me because it is Brian O'Halloran. Yeah. No fucking shit.
Yes.
I had no idea. Wow. Good for you, Brian. Good for you. You got another movie. That's great.
Meow.
I am so happy for him.
It's like, it's hard to say. But like in the entirety of the movie, that's like as much as you see of him. And I'm like, I know those eyes and that nose shape. That's Dante.
I had no clue. I did not fucking clock that at all.
I don't think he might say a thing.
Well, he says, "Come on, let's go," or like "Time to go," or whatever. But yeah, no, I totally did not. Thanks for pointing that out. I had no idea. I would have moved that up another point because it wasn't his day off on this one.
Yeah,
I wasn't even supposed to be at work today, and good thing too because you have to drive out of town.
This wasn't even supposed to be happening today.
But yeah, no, that's great. I had no fucking clue. That's awesome. I have to see if there's backstory on that.
Why is he in this movie?
Yeah, like how did he land this role? Like that's amazing to me.
For all 12 seconds he was in it.
Well, it completely blows. We are getting sharked the hell out of it by a cat right now.
Yes.
So we might as well just let her come up at this point. So
that's if she wants to come up. That's one thing.
That's what she wants to come up to get her 5 seconds of screen time. That's gonna hurt like hell if you let her go that way, dude. Psst, come here. Sorry.
No, she's not gonna.
We gotta get this out of the way.
It's time for that. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, she's coming up. One way or the other, she's coming up. So might as well just let it happen.
Let it happen. So do you want to do? I think I saw the IMDb score.
We'll see.
But we can Rotten Tomatoes it.
Well, I'm going to ask you anyway. So Nick, what did IMDb rate this movie?
I think I saw a 5.
It was a 5. Yeah, okay, so you did see that.
I did see that one.
Okay, fine. All right. So on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes.
Nicholas.
27% for the critics.
Critics, 27%. Is that your final answer?
Yeah, we're gonna go with that.
18. 18%.
Okay, too generous. Okay. See now with the audience, it's gonna be a mixed bag.
Always is.
Because I don't know, critics are gonna be like, this is not a good fucking movie. Oh, that just happened. But for audiences, they're going to watch it and be like, this movie's dog shit. 10 out of 10. So
That is not the case here.
okay. So I'll say the audience gave it a 15.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, we're going to go 15.
24%.
Okay.
Sometimes they put the scores on the back of here, but I would not think they would have broadcasted that.
No,
unless
not
it was
that.
like the first hour of this movie where like it starts off at 100% or something.
2008, I don't think Rotten Tomatoes was like, no one gave a shit about Rotten Tomatoes back in 2008. And now I don't think people should give a shit about Rotten Tomatoes, but they're still putting it on the back like it means anything.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, no, this movie was panned hard. I make it a rule now to at least, if it's a movie I'm not dying to fucking see, I at least try to give it a week in theaters just to see how it shakes out.
Yeah.
There are some movies I'm happy I've done that with, and there's some movies I'm sad I've done that with. But I really wish I would have drug my feet for a week on this one.
Nah. But then we would have missed out on the happening.
That's true. Right.
Is there anything else we want to say about? Because this is a bonus video. We don't talk about. I don't know how long we're going to talk about the happening.
No, I'd say we're kind of done here.
I think if you have got a bunch of friends and you like watching shitty movies, if that's your inclination, it's not my inclination. I still just like watching shit movies. This is a good shit movie. It's going to have you asking why, like, and what the fuck, and is that the decision that you? The director said cool with that one, and all that sort of shit. It's entertaining to watch. Watching it by yourself, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck am I doing to myself?"
Yeah, dude. Honestly, the beginning of the movie is good. Like the ramping up, we don't know what's going on. We're trying to run for our lives, but we don't know which direction to go in. That part's good. The second the wind comes into the fucking picture, the movie goes straight downhill. And I swear, I'll believe this till my dying day, that M. Night Shyamalan, the first time they did the field part where like the wind was cutting through and they're like, it's got to be the wind. It's the wind. It's an airborne it's an airborne thing. The first time that the wind cuts across the fucking field and he watched that back in playback, I guess he was just like, fuck it, just leave it in.
Well, I think so. In the very brief bits I saw of, guys, this thing's got like a bunch of bonus footage that I've never watched because God no. I think I saw like Mark asking him like, why would there be food in this house right here? It's all boarded up and busted. Why would we walk to this house expecting food? And like, it's a B movie and canned goods and stuff. I mean, so I think he knows like we're just doing a B movie and it's going to be a fun, kind of cheap movie. And I think he was going for the intentional. Cause, I mean, he's directed people before, and they've turned out okay. I think he knows that the choices are weird. Definitely. And it's like he was trying to make a bad movie or like a campy movie or something like that. I don't think he did this not on some amount of purpose.
I don't know. Like, I could see where he was trying to go for something, but I feel like when you commit to something, when the contracts are signed and all the money has been doled out, and you realize that this is not going to be something that you can basically rescue. So Amber and I one time made mashed potatoes, and she boiled the potatoes, we put the water, and then when we started putting in the milk, she went, I think it needs more milk. And I went, I agree. Blup, 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 blup. And I just poured it in there, and it turned into fucking soup. And we tried to rescue it, and it did not work. And I think that was his point of this movie, where he was like, this can't be saved, and we've got too much invested, and we're on a fucking schedule, so let's just run it through. I think this movie started with like good intentions. I'm going to make a good movie. And then probably somewhere around the middle of it, he was just like,
Yeah, camp it up.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's just people are not going to be scared by this movie. So yeah, it's a fun one. Seriously. 3 fingers of whiskey. 3 fingers. And you're going to be good. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think you got friends. It's worth a watch.
Definitely.
Don't let my 2 dissuade you.
Yeah, and don't let my 4
Yeah.
dissuade you. It's
just don't watch it by yourself.
Yeah, like my score, I meant to also tell you, would be between what I would give it alone and what I would give it with friends.
Oh, is that the average?
Yes.
Okay.
Because when you asked me that at the beginning of it, I literally was like, would this be fun to watch with a person? Like, it would almost be like Game of Thrones watching the Red Wedding for the first time with someone who doesn't know what it is. Like, it's when the wind part happens, you're not watching the TV.
You're watching your friend.
You're watching your friend for the reaction. And I think this is one of those movies. Me watching it in the den the other night by myself, I was fucking miserable the entire time. But, you know.
So, a 2 by yourself and a 6 with friends?
5. I'd say 5.
Okay.
And just because it comes out as an odd number, I went with 4.
Sure.
But yeah, it's this is what happens when you have a really good idea and then you can't figure out how to stick the fucking landing. So, is what it is.
All right. I guess, and with the departure of the cat,
there goes the views.
It's no longer happening.
Yeah, no, this happening is no longer happening. Oh, one last thing. I only saw one deleted scene that was on the copy that I watched, and it was somebody giving a violin recital, and then the wind comes through the window, and you see the curtain flutter in the breeze behind the kid that's doing the violin recital, and then a woman screams. Someone walks backwards off the little camera of someone shooting on a camcorder, and then the kid playing the violin tilts his head back and puts the bow of the violin down his throat.
Really?
Yep.
Maybe I should watch these.
That was it.
Over 1 hour of intense bonus footage not shown in theaters.
So I did not see 1 hour. It was literally like a minute and a half scene.
It's got a gag reel. This movie is the gag reel.
That's where he put the bow down his throat. I mean, that thing went all the way down. If he wasn't gagging, something's wrong.
Maybe that's what I watched, where I saw like that. I watched the gag reel, and that's where he said like, "Why are we getting in? It's a boarded up house. Why would we expect there to be fresh groceries in here?"
Mark, you're asking too many questions.
Calm down, buddy.
All right. Well, I'd say that we've blown all the wind out of this one.
Yeah.
So
let's make like a tree.
Yeah, and get the out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.